What's up, guys? It's Skillzerk. It is my life goal to stop and prevent fake victim liars from ever ganging up on the true victims ever again. For the past several years, supposed anti-bullying discrimination groups have been using the leverage of pretending to be victims in order to form large groups to attack and harass true victims, whose stories are never heard due to these pretenders claiming to be the victim to a scenario they never have evidence to prove. I want to show you one of those such cases today. So right here we can see that from Identity of Anchorage, Alaska, it says two powerhouse members of our communities, including Lillian Lennon, who is now considered a powerhouse member of the Identity Group for Anchorage, Alaska. There was a law that was passed that endangers women. I made a video on this not too long ago that you can see above this. It says, supporters of the proposition would have safeguarded the privacy and protected women and children from sexual predators. The law that they passed that was unthought out states that anybody just based on a claim without any evidence can say that they are transgendered, regardless of looks or medical history or anything else, can just claim that they are transgendered and enter any bathroom they wish. This means a fully muscular, steroided man that is abusive towards women could enter the women's bathroom and harass women. However, they passed this law the same way they passed laws for the past 20 years, by lying, pretending to be a victim towards something that has nothing to do with them. It says Lennon said, which is Lillian Lennon said, the ballot initiative was simply designed to enforce one thing, discrimination against transgender people. However, going up here again, it says supporters of the proposition would have safeguarded privacy and protected women and children from sexual predators. It has nothing whatsoever to do with discrimination against transgender people. It says, but I think the real factors behind it is targeting transgender people. Even though it says they are claiming to protect the safety and privacy of restrooms, they go again to state that they think it's because it's targeting transgender citizens, even though it has nothing whatsoever to do with transgender citizens. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against transgenders. I'm transgender myself, as many people have known for over 15 years. I post that video claiming and, of course, proving that they're pretending to be a victim in every case while actually harassing anybody who disagrees with them. As they state here, that is a myth created by transphobic people. Calling me a 15 years have come out of the box, a 15 years transgender, they are claiming a transphobic, claiming that I am against myself, basically. As it states here, they're saying that everyone who disagrees with them is transphobic, and then says that has nothing to do with what they just said. That is what they just said. I want to show you a case that actually went on, though, a case that I went through, and I'm still living through the rest of my life now. This kid makes a post saying add him to Instagram. I add him to Instagram and say my friend's name because he has a picture of her. He says, can I help you? LMAO FDF. And I tell him what a rude sounding greeting. Then he says back off as though to play the victim. The last thing posted past back off is, I say, dude, what is your problem? I block him. He starts a witch hunt, stating that I'm calling him sexist for being transgender. A fully childish post saying that I am calling him all these things because he's transgender. However, if we look through these posts again, I never said anything whatsoever concluding to anything transgender. In fact, I've been transgender myself for 15 years and part of the identity community for 10 years. However, with his states where he's claiming I'm calling him sexist and all these things for being transgender, a lot of people get involved. Mahogany Magnetic, who is basically one of the pre-board runner members and leaders for the NAACP, basically a group who states that they support transgenders, however they're running against a transgender, me, claims this claim, which states a false image that she creates. She copyright infringes my image, showing a picture of me, and states at the bottom, I am a grown-ass man, I enjoy bullying, harassing, and taunting teenagers. Now, most people right here understand, stopping the video, they know how much just happened based on this fake image. However, she goes to share this image all over tons of places online, and this comes back at me in real life. Now, Willie Brooks Banker, the leader for Identity for the past 3 years, since 2015 to 2018, as far as I'm aware, made the leader of Identity for Anchorage, Alaska, the administrator, more or less, comes off to harass me without evidence whatsoever, stating that I'm harassing some kind of teenager. However, he has no evidence of this. He goes on from there to tell Willie Brooks Banker, a member or writer, journalist for the Huffington Post. From Huffington Post, Nico Lang from Huffington Post goes to state this, saying and showing my name at the bottom here, and my profiles and everything online and offline, stating that I'm doing something, but also goes to state that the authorities wouldn't do something because it isn't sexual, it isn't a direct threat, it isn't, or it doesn't constitute a hate crime. In fact, there's no evidence whatsoever. And then at the end says stand up for bully trans youth, even though he's actually claiming that me, a transgender, is supposedly bullying my own kind without evidence. He then has a later post stating that I've been dealing with a lot of unusual amount of people trolling his page. Well, actually, he goes on to state that he reports the news. I got paid to report the news is what he says later in it. Well, he doesn't get paid to report the news. In fact, he gets paid for posting whatever's on his mind at the moment that he states is the news. So actually, these aren't people trolling his page. These are people mad from his lies. Let's continue. This kid goes on to keep playing the victim. Now go figure that if you're the person playing the victim, then what more can you do than keep playing the victim to go against the true victim? He goes on to state that an adult who is transphobic, even though I've been transgender for several years, actually my entire life, it only came out 15 years ago, states that I am transphobic without any evidence, says that I harassed him, a minor, without any evidence, goes to say that it's on the internet. Now, minded right there, because it's on the internet, it should have never come as far as it did. However, he goes on to state that I have violent tendencies based on posts on social media, which once again has no evidence. And going down this post, we got to see that he just keeps on playing the victim, pretending that he's a victim to a case where there's no evidence whatsoever. And then several 100,000 people, and these are just a few people copied, several 100,000 people claim the same thing. This post is shared with several hundred people per person. Several hundred people get the same fake post that woman posted with a fake image saying that I enjoy bullying, harassing, and so on people. They make this fake image of copyright infringement, and I have several thousand people that are against me for the rest of my life. So every day for the rest of my life online, I end up getting this, where people say only cowards like me pick on and taunt people, and I dare you to transmessage this, and, people that are being rude, but yet no one has any evidence any of this happened. So I become a victim to a fake victim bully, which is what this fund is about. We go on to see here that I did try contacting Identity, and of course Identity just wants to go down and bully me. A company of Identity that supposedly is an advocate for standing up and protecting transgenders in Anchorage, Alaska, is a lie because they go and get the entire transgender community against me, a person who's been a member of that community for 15 years. They're nothing more than a fake victim bully, bullying people as a one-person discrimination. Going down here, we see who these people really are. This person who made that fake image says, yes, Mr. Orihara, you are generating more chaos for yourself. And it says, what did you do wrong? Maybe ask yourself, what did you do wrong? Well, I asked a kid what his problem was, and I blocked him. That's supposedly what I did wrong. However, it goes down to say no one needs to lie or slander you. However, she made that fake image and lying and slandering me, getting several thousand people against me. These are people I'm going to have to deal with the rest of my life. However, I then become a victim to stalking, and yet there's no one on my side here. Mind you that I am a victim to people who are pretending to be the victim. She goes on to state, Abel Orihara has deleted his post on Instagram, and the kid here proves that he's been stalking by saying he hasn't deleted anything. Then at the bottom here, where the kid has deleted this post between these two to cover it up, says, will you please do me a favor and screenshot everything, send us copies. So these people are stalking me, and then later it goes on to show that I'm told his real name maybe, and it shows my real name and evidence. And past this post, she shows my name, address, social security number, and information they shouldn't have that Identity of Anchorage, Alaska illegally gave out. Those are people you're supposed to be trusting, and your information can be given to anyone. Also, Mahogany McNugget goes to show that dudes are about to get deleted and blocked for this line of question. People ask questions and only ask for evidence of these claims of theirs, and she goes to call it insensitive that people ask for evidence about the supposed claims these people are making against me. But for the rest of my life, these several hundreds of people that went against me without any evidence whatsoever, and these are only a few of the people, there are several thousand people globally and in my state that will forever be against me based on claims that never had any kind of evidence. I tried talking to these same people that got involved, which says, and this was Lillian Lennon, the same person who passed this unthought out law, which says, I hear you contacted Identity Inc., which means that Identity's been giving this evidence, this information to everyone else, been giving my information out illegally, a company that's not supposed to give out your information, your personal information to anyone else. And says, you might have a chance to meet with them and figure this out and tell them chill out, but mind you, I've never talked to these people after those only two posts to the kid, asking him what his problem was and blocking him. I never talked to him again because I seen just what was going on, that I was the victim to a fake victim scenario. And this is what this entire was about. The whole bill of the whole idea for anyone donating is to pass a law to go against these pretenders which are destroying people's lives. And at the end, the same crazy person who started that fake post, the post where she infringes my image saying I enjoy doing stuff, that no one would post an image like that. She creates that to bully me with several people that become victims of fake information. She at the end says, sometimes I'm delusional in my thinking, the reality and fantastical aspects of life she can't tell apart. The same person that caused all these problems admits to being crazy. Transgender or Identity of Anchorage, Alaska, the people that are supposedly the advocates for standing up for transgenders, are the people who originally stood against me and got the entire transgender community against me after me being a part of them for over 15 years. They didn't want to go back and take back what they've done. They didn't want to undo the damage of all the lies they've caused. So for the rest of my life, I'll have to deal with several thousand million people in my state and globally worldwide against me based on a lie that never had any evidence. So, and for all the money that goes towards this cause is going to be so that a law can be passed in order to imprison pretenders for up to 20 years. For every person who's ever had to be a victim to someone who's pretending to be the victim against them. And there's a lot of people that know about this in Anchorage, Alaska. Whenever this case started to die down a little, more or less when I stopped paying attention to this case, well, they continued to try to bully me daily. For people that actually seen this case, a lot of people came to me showing me that they've been victims to Identity of Anchorage, Alaska themselves, and there's nothing they could do because Identity pretends to be a victim against the true victims. So we need to pass a law that goes and imprisons people, pretenders, that act like the victim whenever they're actually bullying the true victims.